It's another decluttering day! Join me as I tip everything out in order to commit to making myself do things, inevitably get completely overwhelmed, and then hopefully by the end of the day have a decluttered space and feel great about it. I am trying to remain excited because I love a decluttered house. I do not enjoy decluttering, but I've committed to doing this, so we're doing it together. If you're new around here, hi, my name's Rhiannon Morgan. Everyone calls me Rhi. I made a bit of a declaration that I was going to declutter my entire house by the anniversary of the day we moved here, and this is day 2. I made this declaration some time ago and so far done 1 day of decluttering. This is day 2, so I may not have done it till now, but at least I am doing it now. This is the date I put in my calendar for this week that's going to be decluttering, so even though I don't feel like it, we're doing it together. Now the good news is, since my last video, the beginning of this decluttering series, I have completed the decluttering workbook. So you may already have it because maybe you got it on the last video because it was ready by the time it went out, but not when I filmed it. But it is ready now for me to show you and for me to use and for us to use together so that we can get this done. And I can decide what I should be doing today and the priorities and actually having some sensible order to what I am doing. I've actually got not 1 but 2 things to show you. The first one is this 2-page clutter-free checklist, which is just designed to be a bit of a kick start for you. If you're just thinking, I want to declutter my house, I don't know where to start, I really need a quick win, this is totally free to download. Just go to mummyof4.com/declutter or scan the QR code on screen or click on the link down in the description in the accompanying blog post. I'll probably put it in the cards and all the places. And then I will email you this quick win decluttering checklist to really give you a boost and a bit of a kickstart to get started if you just do not know where to begin. That's totally free. Make sure you check your spam folder in case it's hiding in there. And then when you're ready to go a bit deeper, I have got, which is what I'm going to be using today, the ultimate decluttering workbook to organise, reset and transform your home. I cannot wait until my home is decluttered, organised, reset and transformed. It feels a little overwhelming, I'm going to admit. Between you and me right now, don't tell anyone, I am a bit overwhelmed at the idea of all the things I put on my list last time. In the last video, I did do the decluttering assessment where I went through and decided exactly what needed doing. And although the super high priority one I did in the last video, I'm so proud of myself, the playroom walk-in cupboard, which it makes me so happy now. I can't tell you the relief I felt after doing that decluttering. It felt so overwhelming, but it's so lovely in there now. It's easy to move around, it's easy to access. It has honestly just made such a difference to my life. I know that sounds really dramatic, but it makes me so happy that it's done. So if I can get that feeling again every time I tick off one of these, imagine how good it's going to feel. So we've got quite a lot of the moderate priority things to go through. We're going to have to pick one of those today. I'm also going to do some more of the decluttering workbook. You can print it off like this in A4, or you can do what I've done inside and just choose on your printer to have 2 to a page, and then it's kind of the size of one of my standard planners when it's open. So, you know, you've got options for when you're printing it, or you can fill it out on a tablet and you can print that out as many times as you want for personal use. That is the beauty of it when you inevitably have to do more decluttering because your children keep bringing stuff into your house. So the version I'm actually going to be using, I have printed out and put inside of my Organised Life binder. So the Organised Life binder is just something we build together. You can get any folder. I love seeing pictures of yours. I have got a pack of printables that you can use as like a starter pack to build your Organised Life binder. But ultimately, all these different printables that I share with you in the videos can be slotted in here. So I've got a whole section for my decluttering workbook that I'm going to fill out some of this stuff now and just go through it and make some sort of decision on what needs doing and get my mindset right for getting started. Okay, so I've been working through my workbook and I think I have made a plan for what we're doing today. Now, based on this that we had last time, I feel like we need to choose one of these high priority problem areas. So I think I'm going to do the under the stairs cupboard because I feel like that isn't an all day thing, so I can probably pick a few things because these are not like entire rooms. Sometimes I declutter by entire room, but I've been breaking this down into mini projects by priority, and there are lots of different ways to prioritize within the workbook. each page will appeal more to different people and you'll end up finding your method and finding your groove. But ultimately the way I'm tackling it is with these kind of smaller mini projects. Some of them more mini than others, so that Will's calyx, maybe that'll take, and Zara's calyx for definite, that'll take a really long time. That's really big. But I think today I can probably do the under the stairs cupboard, the dining room calyx, and maybe the kitchen, one of the drawers, maybe not all of the drawers, maybe one of the drawers. So that's what's on my plan for today. I've put on my Go shoes, which I feel like help me go faster. The trainers I wear indoors on my walking pad. I'm going to grab my AirPods. I only ever put one of these things in at a time. These are official Apple AirPods and they're great, and especially if you want to switch between devices. But I also bought some sort of dupe AirPods recently that work perfectly fine. They don't automatically switch between devices like the Apple ones, but ultimately I just want to have one in my ear so that I can listen to music, listen to a podcast, listen to an audiobook, watch a YouTube video. If it's like a video you can just sort of listen to, you don't really have to look up that much. I might watch an episode of The Traitors while I'm doing this. If I can put my iPad in front, you know, and listen. I'm kind of into The Traitors, I've got to say. I've only recently discovered it. I didn't think I'd like it at all. And so many of you recommended it, and I had to persevere initially, but now I really like it. So if I can find these things that are like, do you know what? I can have a chat to my friend. Do you know what? I can watch something while I'm doing this. Do you know what? It's not just the result at the end, but I can make the bit in between quite pleasant. Then that is definitely worth doing. There's even a section in the Decluttering workbook on one of the daily decluttering worksheets for how we're going to keep ourselves motivated today. So I'm going to listen to an audiobook. I am listening to Let Them by Mel Robbins. Also in here, set a timer. See, I'm glad I wrote that down because I would have forgotten to do that. All right, I'm clearly just procrastinating at this stage by talking. I need to get on with it. Let's go. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with, shall we? Not too bad. It could be a lot better. Let's face it, some of these coats I think are too small. Some of them need donating. Some of them have got rips in them. There are lots of hangers, and yet lots of coats kind of hang on different pegs. And don't get me started on the stuff under the coats on the floor. That's a hoodie. I can't remember the last time I wore that. Why is that in here? That is a jacket I only wear to Disney. Why is that in our whole cupboard? That should be in a suitcase ready to go on Disney trips. It is the bleak midwinter, so I'm unlikely to wear a denim jacket anyway, and definitely not that one, which is for Disney. So it does not belong in this. Oh gosh, hang on. Oh no. Right, let's just get it all out and then we'll clean the area and we can see what actually needs to go back in here. If we look at those umbrellas at the back, I can't remember the last time we used any of those umbrellas. I believe one of them to be a Minions one of them Spider-Man maybe. Oh well, at least now this is empty. I've got these trays at the bottom. They can come out. We can get cleaning. Let's vacuum the area. It's a very small little cupboard under the stairs here. It's very handy, very small. So at least this will be quite a quick win at the beginning of my decluttering day. Sometimes I empty out an entire room and I feel like I don't have any wins at all for absolutely ages through the day. And that can be quite disheartening sometimes. But equally, this making a mess kind of thing is helpful because it stops me from just going, oh, I'll just close the door and go back. Oh, yuck, by the way, let's just get rid of the dust around the skirting boards. That's quite disgusting, isn't it? A bit of spraying and wiping. But anyway, what I was saying was it sort of depends on the project. Sometimes it depends what mood I'm in, but sometimes it's quite nice to get that dopamine hit of getting an early win. And my hope is that by completing this little cupboard, which shouldn't take me too long to do, will spur me on and give me the energy to do the bit I'm really dreading, which is the kitchen. There's so much to do in there. And I know I said I'm not tackling the entire kitchen today. I've got set areas I want to tackle. But I'm going to be honest, it still feels super overwhelming. So now we're going to put a limited amount of umbrellas back in here and hang them on the pegs. Maybe I'll actually remember to use them then, but when they were just stuffed so far back down in the corner behind all the coats, they were never being used. These wellies are wellies that actually fit and they go in welly bags, so they can go at the back of the cupboard. Unfortunately, the wellies are out far more than I'd like them to be at the moment because it is winter And now let's go through some of these coats. So the only coats I want in here are coats we're actually able to wear at the moment, in that they fit the person it belongs to. It's the right season for said coat. Like I said, denim jackets have no place in our front and centre hall coat cupboard during the winter. I'm never going to wear them during the winter. We wear them on Disney trips, if you take the example of that princessy jacket. But there's no point in things being in here if we don't need them. And that's the benefit of when I do my seasonal wardrobe switch over and declutter. It forces me to have a declutter, but also forces me to move stuff out of the way that's for the wrong season. And really, I should have done this for this coat cupboard. Those coats we'll deal with later. I think I need the children to try some of those on, see if they fit or not. And look at that. Oh, it looks so good. I'm feeling so happy already. Look at that. Like, dopamine hit. Tick. Feeling happy that that job is done and I can now move on to the next one with energy. Okay, just while I've got this cloth out though, let's just go around the skirting boards in the hall and find that they are disgusting. These shelf skirting boards look cute, but they're just like a shelf of dust collection, really, which is unfortunate, but oh, that's embarrassing, isn't it? I can't believe I'm showing that to you guys on the internet. You don't mind, do you? You won't judge me. You won't judge. We all have these dusty bits in our house. Our house is just incredibly dusty. It's like no matter how much I dust, then there always seems to be a lot of dust. Now let's get this microfiber cloth, of which I have a lot, by the way. Good investment. I used to use kitchen towel a lot before, and those microfiber cloths are such a good investment because you can use them for everything and then just wash them and use them again. I just wash mine on a hot wash with towels, and I make sure not to use fabric softener with them, and they stay nice and absorbent, and I've had them for years and years and years, and it's just less wasteful and less costly than using the amount of kitchen roll I used to use for cleaning up the place. So quick vacuum in here, just because I've been making a bit of a mess pulling things out before we move on to the kitchen. I am feeling an element of dread about doing the kitchen. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really want to do this. It's so tempting just to be like, oh, that's done now. I've got more important things to do. But let's tick that off and move on, okay? Shall we move on? We'll do it together. Under the stairs cupboard, done. I do have this pile of coats I need to go through when the children get home to see what they want. I got some umbrellas. I need to donate. I mean, how many umbrellas do we need? There's certainly quite a lot of like very kid-like umbrellas that Will had. He's not going to want a Spider-Man or a Minions umbrella now, so they can be passed on, just stuff like that. But that job is done. Tempting as it is to stop now, because when I finish one little section job like that, and this is the danger, finishing that now, I kind of want to just go and do something else that isn't decluttering. But really what I need to do is tackle some stuff in the kitchen. Let's take a look. On the surface, it looks so clean and organised, but do not be deceived, because inside the cupboards, in some of them at least, there's a little bit of carnage. This cupboard's up here is not too bad. This cupboard's not too bad either. This one is really quite organised. So this drawer, not too bad. It's like not urgent, don't need to do today. This one, oh no. Okay, we're going to have to do that one. I think we're going to have to do that. This one, not great. Not awful, but not great. These aren't dreadful. They're a not today job. I think we probably need to do this one today. And then this cupboard could do with a sort out, but isn't dreadful. This will be reasonably easy to do as well because everything's in baskets. So maybe if we can get to it later, we'll do that. But for now, we need to tackle this. Now, I will not be tackling this cupboard. This is my husband's cupboard of doom. I can't touch that. He's going to have to deal with that himself. But I can do the rest. And then at least it's just one cupboard of doom, not loads. Okay, let's start here and then maybe do that. And it's just, it's so easy, isn't it, to just leave things hidden? But it is going to feel good when I've pulled it out and done it. Let's start by emptying out this calyx. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 calyx boxes, that door, and then this just little shelf thing. There's a light on it. I don't dust this as much as I should. I'm going to be honest with you. I should dust it more. but there's no point in saying that, and I should do this, should do that. I'm doing it now. Let's stop beating myself up. In here, we've got a diffuser thing that we almost never use, but sometimes my husband puts it on with Albasoil when someone's got a cold. And then the other one is a wax melt burner, which I do like those because they are electric, they're flame free. Try saying that fast. And nice and safe to use with the children around. Okay, so we've got this drawer we do need to tackle. Should we just do that in a minute? Should we do the other stuff first? Let's do the other stuff first, okay? Let's build up to it, like stretching in the gym before you do the really heavy lifting. And I feel like these 4 boxes are a nice little step up. So we've got too many lunch boxes. There are 3 children currently at home. And how many lunch boxes I find? A lot more than 3. No need for that. And I've also got lots of random things in here like paper plates. Those bottle things are the ones that we had in Walt Disney World, the plastic ones, and I only really take them with us on trips to fill up with water to put in the fridge in a room. That is a Halloween thing, so that needs to go up the attic. I'm gathering things in baskets. You know I love my baskets. You do know I love those, don't you? I'm using the baskets to sort things. So I've got a basket of stuff that needs to go back up the attic, a basket of stuff that needs to be donated, various baskets of various things going to various places. So this is stuff that was all in those Kallax boxes. And do you know what I am going to do? I'm going to replace the Kallax boxes because I think they're called Drona. I don't know if that's how you say it though. Drona. Drone. I'm not sure. I'm very bad at pronouncing IKEA stuff. I should learn how to do it considering the amount of IKEA stuff I have in our home. But those boxes that slot into the Kallax, you know the ones I mean. I don't think they've been replaced, maybe not since we moved here. Like I said, we're coming up to 5 years in this house, which is insanity. So every now and again, those boxes, they're about £3. They get absolutely battered. They're made of fabric and cardboard, and replacing them just makes it all look a bit fresher. So there's such random stuff I'm finding in these Kallax boxes, and each box doesn't seem to have one set purpose. They all seem to have been mishmash boxes. I did have these half baskets inside, and sometimes I put things in the bottom in a half basket and then another one on top. Those were all full of glitter. Do not ask me why they were full of glitter, but they needed washing and wiping out for that reason. And we're going to get nice fresh boxes to go back in. And hopefully if these boxes aren't overstuffed, they won't be all burnt out of shape, and they'll be organised and tidy and square, and like the sort of circles they've morphed themselves onto because they've been so burnt out of shape by having stuff overstuffed into them. And we're going to have one, I think, for sort of baking supplies, and I'll put that way up the top because it's not something we need to use every day. Cake tins, that kind of thing, can just be sort of out of the way, up high, and then we'll have different boxes with different categories of things, not just random stuff that happens to be shoved in there. So one thing you may or may not notice, not sure if you can see, but if you look under my hair very carefully, I have one AirPod in my ear. And if you look on the breakfast bar, just in the corner on the right, I've got my iPad propped up. And there's no one else in the house, so I could just listen to whatever I'm listening to and watching out loud. But I like to have an AirPod in for a few reasons. One of them is that sometimes I walk away from whatever I'm watching or listening to, running around different rooms, and I do find it helpful to be able to keep listening. Look how neat those boxes are, by the way. They make me so happy. That makes me happy. Those are the wipes that we use for dinner. They can go away in there. Anyway, back to what I'm listening to as I clean these boxes, why are they full of glitter? Please someone tell me. Anyway, I like to have these AirPods in. It also, with the actual Apple AirPods, if someone phones me, I can pick up the call without having to stop what I'm doing. But the non-Apple versions are literally a tenth of the price and almost as good other than that call switching thing. I will link the ones that I had recently in the accompanying blog post because I do think they're quite good and really good value. Okay, we're going to have to empty this drawer, aren't we? Ugh, yuck. Anyway, what are you watching / listening to at the moment, Ree? I know you're desperate to find out. Desperate. The Traitors. I've got to say, The Traitors has been out for, I don't know, 3 years. Never once have I fancied watching it. But this last season, which finished a little while ago now, everyone was going on about it so much. And I was like, really? Is this good? But is it good? And everyone's like, seriously, it's so good. And I watched the first episode or the first half of the first episode, I wasn't fussed at all. And then people are like, no, stick with it. And it is quite addictive. I'm going to admit you guys were right. Okay, so this drawer is empty. We're going to vacuum it out with this little handheld Dyson, which is probably as old as Bella is, but still going. So, we've reached that point of overwhelm where I've pulled everything out and I'm like, I've had enough. I just want to sit down and watch The Traitors, but I've got to keep going. But at least I'm like, well, actually, I wouldn't be sitting down watching The Traitors in the middle of the day. I'd be doing work. So I have to switch it round in my head as, oh, well, this is nice. I get to watch some rubbish I want to watch that no one else in my house is interested in watching while I do this, and reframe it in my mind as a fun thing to do. And I keep clinging to that feeling that I get when the jobs are finished. So as overwhelmed as I'm feeling right now, I will be honest with you, I do enjoy that feeling of, it's done. And I did have that little dopamine hit earlier from finishing that coat cupboard, and it did feel so good. And now I'm sort of chasing that again. And as much as right now I'm like, oh, why did I do this? Could someone just come save me and finish it for me? Because I don't want to do any more at all. Also, what's that gross stain in the bottom of the drawer? Yuck. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you a secret now. I don't think I've pulled out these drawers since we moved here, okay? The coat cupboard, I do semi-frequently. Certain things in my house I do semi-frequently. These 2 drawers, I've not seen the bottom of these 2 drawers in probably over 5 years because I probably put stuff in them before we moved in. Okay, back to the story. Okay, overwhelmed, yes. Is it a bit of a, excitement, pull everything out and then feel overwhelmed? Yes, but if I hadn't pulled everything out at this stage, I might just get bored and kid myself I've got more important things to do, really important things, like really important work, really, really important stuff. But I cannot physically leave my house like this. I can't, because I would not be able to think or function with all of this stuff dumped everywhere. And if I just threw it back in the drawers, it would be less organised than when I started this morning. So I just think we're nearly there. We're almost there. We're like Tiana in her song, almost there. Keep singing that. We're Dory, we just keep swimming. We're climbing every mountain. We're all the things. And sometimes music playlists do actually keep me going and happy, by the way, as it's not always watching The Traitors. Sometimes I like watching something, a show, a guilty pleasure show. Sometimes I love a guilty pleasure show to watch while I'm doing these things. Sometimes it's YouTube videos, and maybe you are watching this here YouTube video with me decluttering, and we're decluttering together. I do enjoy that idea that we're doing this together and we're not alone. So if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, I'm going to be your cheerleader. If I can do this, so can you. If I can do this, so can you. Come on, keep going. Woo! Think how good it's going to feel when it's done. Come on, we can do this together. Sometimes I listen to podcasts. I have a podcast. If you want to listen to a podcast, you could listen to my podcast. I don't listen to my own podcast while I'm doing this because that would be weird. But you could listen to mine because I know what I've said in mine and you probably don't. So check that out if you want to listen to that. That is on YouTube. So you could just plonk on the YouTube video and listen, or you could listen to it wherever podcasts are available by searching Real Talk with Ree podcast on your podcast providers. And whatever your kind of incentive or something to keep you company is, whatever works for you, this is why I put that in the decluttering workbook, because it gives you something to sort of almost look forward to. Yes, we can look forward to the finished results, but if we know I've got a fun thing to keep me company and I'm looking forward to that while I'm decluttering, then that is going to help. Are we surprised I'm putting baskets inside the drawers? No. Are we surprised I didn't do this sooner? A little bit. We did have some baskets in here, but now we're having more. It's a little bit like a puzzle trying to fit it all in because I've not bought baskets specifically. These are baskets I already had. I'm trying to make work. But ultimately, the idea is, in theory, that if you've got baskets in there, it's easier to pull things out and have a bit of a clean, or pull things out and sort through things or look for things. And I do swear by my baskets as dividers inside drawers, especially for high up cupboards, for people that are vertically challenged like me. Look how nice that is. Look how happy that is making me. Okay, so now I'm feeling motivated to do this drawer. I know I said we weren't going to, and this list is listed. This list is listed. This drawer is listed in my decluttering workbook, just not as a high priority. But I kind of feel like I'm in it at the moment, and I've done 2 out of the 3 drawers. And if I could do this one as well, which, when did I last pull this drawer out? Ooh, I have done it since we moved here, but not for a really flipping long time. And I don't know what gets in the bottom of cutlery drawers because we don't put food in them, and yet there appear to be sort of crumbs in the bottom, which is disgusting, isn't it? Let's face it, it's quite gross. So if we just vacuum out this drawer now, although it wasn't on my urgent list, I've got this little window of time and what's left of my motivation. And to be honest, I'm being spurred on by what I've achieved already. And the more I achieve, the more I'm going to get done, and the more I want to get done. Let's not even look at the boxes I've got to deal with over there. We'll do those in a minute. Also, I am realising that the vacuum cleaner needs cleaning out, not just emptying, but a bit of a clean. And that's one of the jobs I delegate to my husband, so he can do that for me very soon, I hope. Let's wipe out these drawers and we'll get the cutlery back in. And it's just another thing to tick off, rather, from my decluttering workbook. Why can't I speak today? So, when did you last clean out your cutlery drawer? Are you feeling inspired to clean yours out now? This is a pretty quick fix job, really. And these little quick wins can sometimes really, really spur us on. So yeah, if you don't tip everything out, sometimes you're like, okay, I'm done, let's close the drawer and move on. But sometimes that's enough to be like, oh, I've done this and it feels so great, let's keep going. And it's about knowing yourself a little bit, and that's why there are questions inside of the decluttering workbook about how spaces are making you feel now, how you're going to feel when it's done, and then hopefully we can tap into that feeling of how we're going to feel when it's done, and it's going to keep us spurred on to keep going, because that's what I struggle with. I don't know if it's a mum thing, a busy life thing, an ADHD thing, but motivation and consistency is not something that comes naturally to me. It's something I've had to work really hard at over the years. And the reason I put together the decluttering workbook, yes, for you guys, yes, it's available for you, but for me, because I feel like I need a framework, I need something to follow, I need a deadline. That's the part of the reason I did this challenge I set to myself. It was very impulsive, I'm going to be honest. I thought, oh, here's an idea. Let's declare that I shall declutter my whole house by this date in April. And then I instantly put that on my stories or on a reel or something. I instantly did that before I lost the motivation. And then I knew, because I'd said that publicly, because I'd made that declaration, that I felt like I had to stick to it. I had that accountability. So if you need accountability, write down right now in the comments what you're going to do and by when. Let's have accountability for one another. Let's spur each other on. Let's congratulate each other on our wins, and let's keep going. So now look, the surfaces are nice and clear. I just give them a little wipe over. And don't forget to pick up your decluttering workbook, by the way. You can pick yours up and then you can pop it in your organised life binder. All the details are below. And the clutter-free checklist, that one is free. All the details are in the description and in the blog post below. So I've got a number of things that need dealing with, things like the umbrellas, just jotting all those down now. and I have taken after photos. I'm just jotting down my wins, and this is just to tap into that feeling of how great it feels when things are done, to give me that motivation to keep going. And honestly, guys, it really, really works. This system works. If you need to declutter and you're struggling, give it a try. It is nearly time to go and get my children from school, so let's take a look at what I've managed to do so far today. So this cupboard, which was pretty horrific this morning, is now looking very much under control. Now, I'm aware these drawers are going to need doing at some point. I need to put this on my list, actually. I keep needing to add things to my list as I see them, but that's fine. That is the purpose of the workbook. We can add things as we go, tick them off. It's a whole process. So, this cupboard, done. When the children get home, I do need to go through these coats and see what fits, what doesn't, what's going to be recycled, what's going to be donated, all those things. And then these are super organised. We didn't touch the cupboard of doom, but you know, I can't do that. That's my husband's stuff, and he won't be able to find anything, and that would probably take me as much time as all of this has taken me. So in here in the top box, we've got kind of cake making, baking stuff. So we've got cake tins, cookie cutters, molds, mostly Disney shaped ones, Disney shaped tins, more cake tins, and that is going up here. Next in this hole, we have a grey box. So this, we've got the wipes, which we use each day for meals. We still use these with the children. Hands and faces, they're really handy. In here, I have also got the, I mean, we don't use these much, but the children do like putting them out for special occasions, so I don't know. In here, I've got paper plates for parties, and in here, I've got napkins for parties, and there's a few paper cups in there. They were from the coronation or whatever, but I just thought this is kind of an eating-ish box. I have got aprons that are currently in the washing machine that I'll put back in here too. So that one goes there. Next, we have got stuff for packed lunches. So a whole load of this Systema plasticky stuff and lunch boxes. And then this bottom one is kind of Disney-esque treat stuff. So it's popcorn buckets, it's resort mugs, it's stuff for when the children want a bit of Disney at home, bit of candy popcorn, bit of Dunkirk resort mug. They can come here and grab the things. So that unit is sorted. Now these two bottom drawers were on my list, but I ended up doing all three. The cutlery drawer wasn't awful, but it's so much better now. Actually quite glad I did that. And then in here, this is so much calmer. I've got a whole basket for like food wrapping-ish type stuff. In here, it's like baking things, so that's the scales, whisks, electric whisk, that kind of thing. And then some utensils, cheese grater pots, rolling pin. And then down the bottom, we've got the Pyrex jugs, mixing bowls. That's a wine bottle cooler thing. These are plastic tub things that get saved and reused for other things. This is a salad bowl, the little Pyrex dish thing, the saucepan lids. The actual saucepans live in there. That cupboard is not dreadful because, well, it's just, I mean, it probably needs to go clean, but it's not dreadful. So we can do that another day. That was not urgent. This drawer and this drawer, we're starting to get to the stage where things are falling out the side. And now they're so much better. Look how much better it is. So even though I wasn't planning on doing the top drawer, and I've managed to do all three, I'm really, really pleased. Next thing we're decluttering, we're choosing between the playroom Kallax, the Will's Kallax boxes in his room, Bella's in her room, Zara's in her room, or we've got some inside our wardrobe. All of that is reasonably urgent in that it's all really sort of in need of attention. And the girls' desks are worse than Will's. I think I did Will's reasonably recently. So both of the girls' desks need a bit of a sort and a declutter. I actually need to add the playroom desk. Did I add that on? The playroom desk has gone pretty dire. But that is sometimes something that the girls will just take upon themselves to do. So those at playroom desk, Bella's desk, Zara's desk are probably the kind of things that I'm going to do with them. However, their rooms as a whole, sometimes it's easier to do when they're in school because otherwise they're like, what do you mean, this scrappy piece of paper? It means so much to me, I could never throw it out. And it becomes a bit challenging to get rid of anything at all. Let me know in the comments, what is the most pressing thing that needs decluttering in your house. And when are you going to do it? Commit to it now. Let's do this together. Don't forget to grab my decluttering checklist, grab the decluttering workbook. I've got to go and get the children from school now, but I am feeling really positive about this and excited to keep decluttering. If you want to keep decluttering with me, click on the video on screen now. Get my decluttering cheat sheet by using the details below. Also purchase the decluttering workbook. Hang out with me a bit more inside of my Patreon. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.